Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome back once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everyone. Tonight is Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. And this is live show 1306. Sixes are wild. So yes, I am back once again after enjoying a brief hiatus. Just a little break last week, but I am back. And if you're not overly familiar with this show, let me point out it's super casual. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. Normally we'll skew very heavily into tabletop role-playing games. And then most of the time I will tackle a topic, which I am going to be doing tonight, because I have a call to action for tabletop game publishers. Doesn't matter if you're publishing board games, role-playing games, whatever. I got a call to action for you because there are outlets who need your help. So it's time to step up. So we're going to talk about that. But of course, we're also going to talk about the latest tabletop role-playing game news of the day, which is what we always lead off with. And then, of course, I should also point out, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are never going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Also, because this is a live show, there is chat available. Now, you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least an hour before you can take part in chat. But if you check off that box and you want to say howdy, maybe get a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Kevin King. Semper Buffos with us, as is Cthulhu, Kathy Evans, W. Forge, the Madman. We've got Zarquan with us, and we just might, have the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D. lurking in the shadows as another of our chat moderators alongside the Madman. We shall see. We'll find out. All righty, I'll tell you what, why don't we jump right on into the news, and then I can kind of give you a little bit of info about what I've been doing over the past, what did it turn out to be, like 10 days without a live stream? Oh, there were videos. Yes, there were reviews that I posted, quite a few of them, but there weren't any live shows, but we'll get into that after the news. All right, so first of all, Chaosium Inc. has released Cthulhu by Gaslight, Dust and Blood in both print and PDF. Come on, what the hell's going on here? There we go. See, take 10 days off and things stop working. Chaosium Inc. has released Cthulhu by Gaslight, Dust and Blood in both print and PDF, bringing two atmospheric scenarios to the shadowy streets of Victorian London. Set in the grimy underbelly of Gaslight-era London, this 120-page supplement for Call of Cthulhu offers a pair of distinct investigative experiences. Dust to Dust, also referred to as Ashes to Ashes, is an accessible one-shot designed for 3 to 6 players, ideal for newer keepers and groups. The investigators, typically working-class laborers at Lang's Dust Yard, find themselves drawn into a dark mystery that can unfold over 1 or 2 sessions. Though set in London, the scenario can easily be adapted to any other Victorian cities. For more experienced groups, Signs Writ in Scarlet presents a sprawling sandbox-style investigation set in London's East End. The scenario supports up to 6 investigators from varied social backgrounds and may take several sessions to fully unravel, offering a deeper and more complex mystery. To support play, Dust and Blood includes 10 pre-generated investigators tailored specifically for these scenarios. The book requires the Cthulhu by Gaslight Investigator's Guide for full use. The hardcover edition, which includes a PDF if you order from Chaosium Inc., is priced at $39.99. If you want to grab just the PDF alone, you can do so for $19.99 via Drive-Thru RPG. And I will point out tonight's giveaway is, you guessed it, Dust and Blood for Cthulhu by Gaslight. So after the news, I'm going to roll out another trivia question. First person with the correct answer is going to win Dust and Blood in PDF. DB is popping on into chat. Very nice. And yes, Sarah D is with us this evening. So welcome aboard. Vigilante City 45E has landed from Bloat Games. I've got the latest. From the creators of Dark Places and Demogorgons and the original Survive This Vigilante City comes Vigilante City for 5E, a gritty, street-level superhero game set in the near future. Vigilante City for 5E is the tabletop role-playing game love letter to the 1990s superhero cartoons, Batman, the animated series, X-Men, Spider-Man, and, of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If you want to play a Supers RPG that's like watching an episode of your favorite superhero cartoons, then Vigilante City for 5E is the perfect game to have that type of experience. Vigilante City for 5E is based on the mechanics of the world's most popular fantasy role-playing game. What could that be? I wonder. And adapted for a modern super setting by Vigilante City creators Josh Palmer and Eric Bloat. Is Vigilante City new? It sounds familiar. Originally, Vigilante City was created by Bloat Games for their OSR-based system, Survive This! See, I always say it like that because it's got two, count them, 2 exclamation points. Later, Vigilante City was adapted by Brandish Gillum, a.k.a. Runehammer, or Hankering for an Ale, for his index card role-playing game system. For Vigilante City 4-5E, the 4 original Survive This Vigilante City game books have been stripped down to their essence and lovingly rebuilt from the ground up with the 5E game system in mind. This is more than just a mere adaptation. It's definitely become its own game. And Vigilante City 4-5E contains rules for humans, mutant animals, Borg conversion and power armor, magic, mutant abilities, psionics, speedsters, and super soldier drugs, backgrounds and origins, weapons, equipment, gadgets, vehicle upgrades, vehicle combat, and so much more. It's 100% compatible with the original 5E and is integrated with the 5.5E update. Yeah, that's right. Play your game your way. Vigilante City features both human, no powers, and mega-human powers classes. For the humans, we've got the archer, the athlete, the crime fighter, dark avenger, the gadgeteer, martial artist, mercenary, protege, and true vigilante. The mega-humans are the anthropomorph, the Borg, mutant, mystic, powered armor, scion, speedster, and super soldier. It's important to note that Vigilante City for 5E is designed for street-level vigilantes, not paragons or cosmic-level super beings. Think Batman, not Superman, Iron Man, not Thor, Deadpool, not Green Lantern. The 284-page hardcover with PDF can be had over at Drive-Thru RPG for $59.99. If you want to just score the PDF alone, you can do so for $19.99. So how about that? I know I have shared news about Vigilante City when it came out for Survive This. And now it's back for 5E. How about that? Danny Gable and Agile Monk, as well as Michael Berry, and I think Neon Lords RPG are all with us in chat tonight. Welcome aboard, everybody. Nice to see 10 days away from the saddle hasn't turned everybody off from tuning in. What was that guy's name? What was that guy's name who was doing those live streams for years? I forget. The Gruesome Gamer or some shit like that. I don't know. On to our next news piece. Classic Tunnels and Trolls adventures are the focus of an offer over at Bundle of Holding. I've got the deets on the deal. Adventurer. This resurrected June 2021 Tunnels and Trolls Adventures offer, previous title was Tunnels and Trolls 2. I don't know, like that matters. Is the second of two Bundle of Holding revivals in progress. I talked about one before I went on break. I know the news is up on thegaminggang.com. That is for certain. But it's the second of two bundles in progress featuring many solo and game mastered adventures for the well-known tabletop fantasy role-playing game Tunnels and Trolls. It's also been revived as alongside the original Tunnels and Trolls bundle that has the deluxe core rulebook and so forth. If you're new to TNT, you can start with either that offer I just mentioned or this one. Both offers include the simple, fast-playing Tunnels and Trolls rules that have been keeping solitaire players dying in countless killer dungeons since 1975. So one thing I will mention that's not included in this sell sheet is they're pointing out, oh yeah, well, you can play Tunnels and Trolls with this bundle. It wasn't necessarily a quick start, but it was like a starter bundle release. It does not have everything from the deluxe core rulebook. I can assure you that. Anyway, I should also mention that these two revived, not revised, TNT bundles promote the Tunnels and Trolls, a New Age Kickstarter campaign, which is currently in progress from Rebellion Unplugged. A New Age reimagines the dark tunnels and ancient trolls of the past with a fresh, streamlined rule set that remains like the original game, lightning quick, immediate, and thrilling. You can also get the free quick start rules, which I have shared a first look video of, and people have taken umbrage with, not the video. They're fine with the video. Taking umbrage with this new edition of Tunnels and Trolls. I will reserve any sort of criticism until the final product is actually out. Anyway, for just $12.95, you'll get all 24 titles in this revived TNT Adventures offer. It is the Adventure Collection. It's got a retail value of $67. These are DRM-free PDFs. Having trouble finding players? TNT is famous for its solitaire pick-a-path dungeon crawls. Along with the Tunnels and Trolls Beginner's Bundle, that's what I was talking about, quick start rules and stuff, you'll also get no less than 18 complete TNT solos, such as Blue Frog Tavern, Beyond the Wall of Tears, Overkill, When the Cat's Away, Ken St. Andre's Grimtina's Guard, and many more. For complete lists, you can check out the bundle itself. You'll also find 5 Game Mastered adventures, Catacombs of the Bear Cult, which is a classic. I think that's from about 77-ish. Stab in the dark. We also have Goblin Crag, Grimtooth's Tomb of the Warhammer. Kind of funny, you think, oh, what is that, like a mashup? Is that like Warhammer Fantasy or Warhammer 40K? And we also have Isle of Dark Smoke by Larry DiTilio. Yeah, you know, you might remember him from Massive Nyarlathotep for Call of Cthulhu. And there's also Trollstone Caverns, Lair of the Silver Serpent. Not a bad deal for $12.95, eh? These savings do run through April 15th, which is a day after the Kickstarter ends for A New Age for Tunnels and Trolls. Cool. Very nice. I like Tunnels and Trolls. If you're ever curious about it, I have a review video of the deluxe rulebook. Do I have it? I might even have it. No, you know what? I think I had it behind me throughout last month because we were kind of focused on OSR stuff. Yes. Yes. Kevin R. Smith has joined us in chat. Good to see you, Kevin. So let's see. DB says, I know that the new TNT is not beloved. Well, I mean, how could it be beloved? It's not even out. But it is taking a shitload of heat. I will say that. But DB says they dig the art on that first over this Drek. It was retro sweet. Okay, so you do also have to remember that Flying Buffalo Games was one of these companies that just held on by the skin of their teeth, which I always thought was a very strange phrase. I don't have skin on my teeth, but I understand what it means, right? I understand what they're getting at with that. So they didn't have money for, like really standout artwork. They kind of fell into, well, okay, I will say, I think that the artwork for at least early Tunnels and Trolls is right there with AD&D. And I would say that as the years went on, Tunnels and Trolls, it has always, remember, we've talked about TNT in the past. It's always been popular in Japan. Probably because it only uses 6-sided dice. No doubt why, I think. People jumped on board that in Japan because it was tough to get polyhedral dice back in the day. But as far as the artwork goes, I think it's relatively solid compared to some of the stuff that we saw 77, 78. So, but yeah, I mean, Flying Buffalo Games was run out of a garage in Scottsdale, Arizona. So their warehouse was a garage. So Rick Loomis, I mean, he was the heart and soul of Flying Buffalo Games. And I used to say it when Rick Loomis was still around. I felt bad for Flying Buffalo Games because they had good stuff. Just couldn't compete with, the other companies that have money, Okay, so it looks like DB said that was my bad typing. I just meant I like the main art for the bundle. I wasn't dissing anything. Oh, I'm not busting your chops on it. I'm just saying, gotta keep in mind they didn't have money. So yeah, and I will say, I don't think if Rick Loomis was still around today, I don't think they'd be doing the AI. I don't think they'd go the AI route either. So, but no, you're fine, DB. I didn't think you were like dragging anybody through the mud. Everybody's got their opinions. Like, I like Cobalt Press art. I think Cobalt Press art is anywhere from fine to pretty damn good. And other people are like, oh, I hate it. It's boring. It's too static. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Agile Monk says, Rick Loomis and Ken St. Andre, good gents. I still have the original Tunnels and Trolls. Ooh, sweet. Very, very nice. So if you're not done saving money yet, Onyx Path Publishing is teamed with Fanatical, who you may recall Gaming Gang is now an affiliate of, for a Realms of Pugmire bundle. And I got the skinny on the savings. When I say skinny, I don't mean skin of my teeth. I mean the info. Set off on epic adventures in a world where the age of man is long gone and animals have inherited the lands with the Realms of Pugmire role-playing game. Inside this brilliant bundle is a doggy bag stuffed to the brim with treats that will equip you to explore ruins, uncover lost knowledge, and spout heroic tales. Tier 1 delivers the perfect way to start your journey with everything you need to start playing. Tier 2 unlocks essential tools to deepen the lore of Pugmire, as well as your adventures, with a core rulebook, and it contains everything you'll need to run full campaigns, build stories, characters, and embark on noble quests. Tier 3 reveals the full 21 product lineup and introduces the feline kingdom with the monarchies of Meow. Set off on swashbuckling sea adventures with Pirates of Pugmire and explore the underneath, unearthing the rodent folk with Squeaks in the Deep. Some of this stuff is fairly recent, too. A world of good dogs, curious cats, and great stories awaits you. So don't delay and snap up your copy today. So you can jump on board for $1. Sadly, I forgot to jot down what the tier 3 is. If I remember right, it's $14.99. If I remember correctly, it's $14.99. So, in fact, you know what? Give me a sec. Let me take a look. Because I have a news piece for this. I just forgot to copy and paste. Duh. Yeah, it is $14.99. So the $14.99 popped into my head because I kind of remembered from the news piece. Womp, 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 womp. Actually, it's no big deal. All right, so Agile Monk with a $9.99 super chat. So this is a super chat for the Gaming Gang community and for all the loyalty to Jeff and the channel. You are awesome people. Yay. M. Ross 123 is with us, as is Age of Adventure. And NL Morrison popping on in. Very cool. Welcome aboard. PC Liney's is jumping on in. I know I got that pronunciation completely wrong. I believe some of these folks are first timers joining us live. So welcome aboard. Make yourselves comfortable. I do see that I'll just say PC says finally catching one of the live shows. The time difference in Japan is terrible. Well, welcome aboard. J-Man is also jumping on in. We have Balu Gunno. I hate when I have to try to figure out what is that a code? Is that what is that? Is that an anagram? Shit. So welcome. Very nice to have you all with us. We're on to our final news piece because now available. Oh, actually, before I move on, I should tell you, if you're interested in this bundle, stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on the link to the bundle in the news piece. Because remember, we are now affiliates of Fanatical, also an affiliate of Drive-Thru RPG, which I'll talk about when I wrap up our final news piece, because now available in print and PDF is Dungeons and Kittens. That's right. Dungeons and Kittens. I've got the lowdown from Edge Studio. Play the role of the kittens exiled by the naughty King Walter. Dungeons and Kittens is an original adventure role-playing game that blends animal tales and medieval fantasy in a post-apocalyptic world. Join in the adventures of a group of kittens and explore a wonderful new world together. Humans have all but disappeared, and nature has made a dramatic comeback. Animals have evolved. Cats, dogs, rats, and more are standing on all fours at the dawn of a new Middle Ages. The world is filled with the miracle of meowgic and the technology of the past. There's nothing strange about seeing a tunnel-digging rat with a homemade headlamp, a magician cat casting a spell to make it rain, or a dog playing the tough guy in armor made of tires. In this book, you'll find an introduction to the D&K universe with a rich assortment of characters and places to discover and dozens of adventure trails. Simple, accessible rules suitable for children. 18 different childhoods to use for character creation. Detailed advice for game masters and players, plus instructions for creating your own adventures. You'll find 4 complete, ready-to-play adventures. 5 characters, all set for adventure, are also included. The 288-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $49.99. If you want to grab the PDF, you can do so for $29.99. I do not believe at this point the core rulebook is available over at DriveThruRPG. I think it's only at the Edge Studio website. So there is that. Yes, the naughty King Walter. It was Walter, right? Like, is he naughty as he does bad things, or is he naughty because he's like a kinkmeister? I don't know. I have no idea. All righty then. So that is the news for this evening. Of course, I've mentioned DriveThruRPG a few times. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to go visit DriveThruRPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of those One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get 5% of that sale. And all those commissions really do add up and help keep the gaminggang.com website around. If you like the video, by all means, give it a quick thumbs up. If you like the video, if you dig the outlet, if you feel the Gaming Gang is maybe a valuable resource to you. Hell, if you just like what we do, you got a couple of other ways you can support the outlet. First, you can make a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Oh, that's delicious. It's fine. I would say it's delicious, but it's fine. It keeps me going. It keeps me lubricated. There you go. There you have it. And of course, you can also become a monthly member of our Patreon. And during the live shows, I always like to give a big shout out to our Patreon members. So, tip of the cap to Caval, Kevin R. Smith, Talzek, Sean O'Donnell, Herman Lutman, Gustavo Cavalho, Kevin King, GameCat, RPG Munch, Tier 2 DM, Pete Strakulich, Dan Webb, Tessie Trekkie, Agile Monk, The Madman, and our first $50 Patreon member, Flint Fireforge. Thank you all very kindly. Thank you to those who also religiously stop by thegaminggang.com, click on our banners, and then make your purchases through DriveThruRPG and stuff like that. So very, very nice. Very, very nice. All right. So you may recall, some of you have popped in a little bit later in the news, so you didn't catch this. But, I'm trying to give at least a PDF away on the live streams. So that's what I'm doing tonight. It's time for another giveaway. It is trivia time. First person who gets the trivia question correct is going to win a copy of Cthulhu by Gaslight, Dust and Blood from our friends over at Chaosium Inc. So, it's going to be Lovecraft related. All right. So, everybody ready? Okay. Okay. Loosen up. Right. Okay. That made me dizzy. That did. What is the name of the witch and her familiar in the dreams in the witch house? Dun, dun, dun. I hear the Google foo going. People are activate. Google foo activate. All right, so I'll give folks a moment or so to jump on in, try to get their. Oh, there we go. Age of Adventure has caught my Miskatonic University T-shirt. Oh, well, somebody got half of it. Somebody got half of it. Oh, boy. Like, damn it. Why do I have to be watching this on my phone or TV? That'd be the worst. I'd be like, shit. Where's the phone at? Okay. Anyway, Max Apocalypse has popped on into chat. Welcome aboard. And Cthulhu is our winner. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, it is. Keziah Mason and Brown Jenkins. Is it Brown Jenkins or Brown Jenkins? For some reason, I want to say it's Brown Jenkins with an S. I might be wrong, though. I could be wrong. I'll double check during the brief intermission. So it'll be Cthulhu if it's Jenkin, and it'll be Zarquan if it's Jenkins. Oh, no, Zarquan says no. There's no S. All right. Very nice. Very nice. Cthulhu's like, no, man. It's Jenkin. Jenkin! Damn it. So you might also know that I have a call to action for tabletop gaming publishers, both large and small tonight. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. I did want to point out, I actually got to finish up the second chapter of A Time to Harvest for Call of Cthulhu with the gang. Sadly, Elliot has not been able to take part in this. Well, we did get through the second part. I don't know. Did anybody want any spoilers out there? I can kind of tell you some of the interesting things that were going on. But if you are familiar with that campaign from our friends over at Chaosium Inc., it involves the Migo, which are actually some of my favorites of the mythos creatures out there. Because, funny enough, they're really, I think they're very Lovecraftian because they're not really necessarily evil. You know, to me, I think like the deep ones are a little more, well, I don't necessarily think they're evil either, but I think they're a little more, they're not benign. I guess I'll say. All right. So PC said, hey, whoa, just muted you. Years of being a forever keeper, I'm finally playing Time to Harvest. So yes, all I wanted to really say was my brother and my nephew and his girlfriend were all very surprised because they haven't seen them up close yet, but they have seen the results of the Migo taking brains. So there were their adversaries who had been brain swapped that they've been, going back and forth with, and the Migo has reacquired the brains that were powering them, and it was funny because as that was unveiled, there were a lot of holy shit looks around the table. I was like, yeah, right. PC says, love your motions and gestures with the sound muted, though. So then all right, you can unmute. You're okay now. You're all right. Kevin R. Smith said, yeah, according to Wikipedia, it's Jenkin without the S. Obviously, it's not the primary source. Yeah, I get it. I gets it. All right. So, Cthulhu, you know the drill. Email Jeff McAleer at thegaminggang.com from the email address associated with your YouTube account that you're using right now. I will send you a link. Hey, it's the first time I've actually gotten to share something that, well, I take that back. I have shared stuff that I've just gotten. So essentially, you're getting my PDF is what it is. So because I'm getting the physical book, because there is another Call of Cthulhu release. I don't know if it's physically out yet. I think the PDF might be out. But Chaosium Inc. has shipped out both of those to me. So very nice. So yeah, so for my 10-ish days off, I did sit there and do some new reviews. So in fact, City of My Nightmares came out today for Wesen. And yes, got it right over my shoulder there. Actually, I guess I should point like that, because otherwise I'm pointing to Dolman Wood. Anyway, all right. PC says, thank you for the unmute notice. Yeah, it's great to finally play. It's kind of funny. I told my nephew and my brother, I said, it's too bad that we don't have somebody, because they're still not great at the game. There's too much prompting I have to give them. Or I have to kind of not necessarily fudge things, but lay things out more obviously than I would normally, because they're still not very proactive. They're still very, very reactive. And I said, it's too bad that we can't sit down and play a game that someone else is running, so you could actually see how I approach a game as a player. So, I mean, it's kind of like, okay, so I set the scene, and then I have three faces, and Elliot, sadly, he's lost a little of his role-playing mojo over the years, just because he doesn't get a chance to play much. So I'll set the scene, and then I just get these inquiring looks around the table, as opposed to, okay, so how big is the room? What's in this room? What? Yeah. How well lit is this room? No, it's just like, that's kind of look I get is sort of like, okay, all right, like, what's next? DB says, dude, probably dude, I'm sure you can find someone to run a game for you. You can use your Discord. See, but the problem is it's not running a game for me. It's running a game when everybody gets an opportunity. Kevin R. Smith asked, does Jeff remember what he was like as a player all those years ago? I did get to play a 2-hour session of, I want to say it was Danse Macabre at Page, and Elliot and I were the only two players in it. And yeah, it was kind of funny, because I think we kind of surprised the game master. Kevin King says, I GM teens and get those looks all the time. Yes, I get it. I know. So, I mean, they're improving, but I have to keep telling him at the end of the sessions, You got to be more proactive. You got to look at this. It's like a movie, right? Now, granted, there are some downtime periods in all role-playing games, but for the most part, it's usually stuff going on. But the stuff can't go on unless, because I had told them a couple of times yesterday, I said, you got to remember, I'm not here to tell you what your character does. You have to tell me what the character does. I said, I said, I'm not here to be like, oh, okay, and you guys see this, and then you do this, and no. I set the scene, you tell me what you do. You tell me what you're saying to this NPC, and I'm going to give you what their response is. And I don't make them like act out, exactly what they say or anything like that. But yep. JD Sewell is with us. Welcome aboard. Good to see you once again. All right. So tonight, I have a call to action for tabletop gaming publishers, both large and small. And we are going to be getting into that in a few minutes. I do also want to mention that my language might get a bit spicy. So if that's going to be a problem for folks, I mean, I'm not going to be like carpet bombing F-bombs, but yeah, I might get a little animated. I don't know. I'll see. Once again, I don't script this stuff out. It's, we just discuss. But I didn't want to point that out. I do have a call to action, and we're going to talk about that. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Here's a choice of food and drink to satisfy anyone and everyone. You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment. Something to please all tastes and age groups.
Time now for your barbecue break. Treat yourself right now to that good old Southern style just right barbecue. Steeped in taste-tingling barbecue sauce, made just right from fresh, firm, choice ingredients. The recipe handed down for generations and cooked Southern style to tender perfection. Slowly, hour after hour, capturing the taste-tempting barbecue flavor. It's just right tender goodness generously spooned on a fresh, soft bun for you. It's hard to wait. It smells so good. And oh boy, it is lip-smacking good. Here it comes, your Southern-style just right barbecue on a bun with all the delicious trimmings. A snack to remember. Enjoy it now along with your choice of hot or cold drinks. It's a favorite of all the family, prepared and served just right. The only thing better than this barbecue sandwich is the next one. Just try the best barbecue in the land that made barbecue famous. It's Southern style, just right barbecue.
Put your money in here and you get a cup of Wilkins coffee. I don't want any. Then push that button. How about a cup of Wilkins?
For more than 20 years, scientists have known that a swarm of killer bees has been headed towards the United States. Now, Warner Brothers presents Irwin Allen's The Swarm.
We have visual contact.
Identify.
A black mass, sir. A moving black mass.
We have been invaded by an enemy far more lethal than any human force.
Starring Michael Caine, Catherine Ross, Richard Widmark, Richard Chamberlain, Olivia de Havilland, Ben Johnson, Lee Grant, Jose Ferrer, Patty Duke Aston, Slim Pickens, Bradford Dillman, Fred McMurray, and Henry Fonda.
Get inside! Immediately! Get inside! You understand? Quickly, get inside!
A story of courage and sacrifice.
Newman! Go for it! Go! Move out!
Not since the 30s, when families by the thousands fled the Oklahoma Dust Bowl, has a thriving American community had to be totally evacuated. Until today.
Its size is immeasurable. Its power is limitless. Its enemy is man.
The war that I've always talked about has finally started.
Mile by mile, city by city, it moves, leaving in its wake a path of destruction.
For God's sake, Crane, when are we going to stop this massacre?
Irwin Allen's The Swarm. It is more than speculation. It is a prediction. The Swarm is coming.
One of the, if not the, worst disaster movie ever filmed. And I saw that as a kid in Las Vegas. I'll never forget. Yeah, I'm with my parents and my grandparents and my brother. And my mom and my grandmother they were super into gambling. I like gambling, but I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, we're in Vegas, So my dad didn't really care, but he'd go play blackjack or whatever. And my grandfather would play like penny slots, which were a thing back in the 70s. So my brother and I got dropped off at a theater on this, downtown, the stretch of downtown. And it was a double feature. It was The Swarm and The Land That Time Forgot. Yep. Although I had to laugh. So Kevin R. Smith says, well, that's not how the killer bee migration worked, actually, but whatever. Then DB says, Kevin, it's not a documentary. I started laughing when I saw that during the brief intermission. I was like, oh. And yes, if I remember correctly, yes, Kevin R. Smith is correct. That's how they ended the movie. I thought that is how they do it. They get them to all get into the Astrodome and they turn on the air conditioning or some shit like that. Something ridiculous. All right. So you had a good laugh at that awful, awful movie. That trailer makes it look way better than it actually is. And as you notice, it stars like all the big names of disaster films of the 70s. Slim Pickens. Fred McMurray was in quite a few. Yes. Olivia de Havilland was in a bunch. But still. All right. Yes. Say Michael Caine's name with his accent. I heard that the best way to say Michael Caine That sounds like Michael Caine is to just say my cocaine. Michael Caine. Michael Caine. There you go. All righty. So I have a call to action for tabletop role-playing game publishers, board game publishers, tabletop gaming publishers, large and small. And let me begin by saying that it is true. YouTube is trying to squeeze out small outlets. If you do not have 100,000 subscribers or more, YouTube doesn't want to devote the bandwidth to you any longer. Now, they are willing to devote their bandwidth to outlets with very few videos and videos that have like 2 or 3 views. I don't know about you folks out there, but my recommended video feed has had more and more videos with 2 and 3 views pop up on topics I have never shown any interest whatsoever in, either on YouTube or on Google or anywhere else for that matter. So they are squeezing us out. And one of the ways that they're doing it is they are not sharing our videos with subscribers and the people who have hit that notification bell and indicated all notifications. So you would think if someone has done that, that they should be getting notified in their feed or getting a little red number up there for a notification saying, hey, such and such is live, such and such has uploaded this video, whatever. You're not getting it. You are not getting it. And because during my hiatus, I took a deeper dive into my analytics on YouTube than I normally do. And yes, I know views have been down over the past year, probably past 18 months. Because, you know, it was not unusual to share a video, and it didn't have to be like a D&D release. We'd pull in 5,000 views on that video. Maybe if it was a new D&D release, 10,000 views, 15,000 views. I mean, even a year ago, there are still videos that have gotten like 5,000, 6,000 views, but they start getting fewer and fewer. And now it's gotten to the point where just 1,000 views on a video on the Gaming Gang is kind of a big deal. Because everything kind of floats around 500, 600 views. Now, live stream, a little bit different. It kind of, fluctuates a lot more than that because, sometimes it's a topic that you're interested in. Other times it's a topic where you're like, I don't even know what that title's supposed to mean. What does that thumbnail mean? It's like if you follow me on social media, I had posted about today's episode yesterday, which I normally don't do. I normally post what the topic's going to be that day on X and Blue Sky and Facebook. So I had a bull with a big tuba. And people were wondering, what the hell is that? It's a bullhorn. Womp womp. Anyway. So I did a little digging. So I shared a review of Cabin Fever for Pirate Borg. And Pirate Borg is a pretty popular OSR role-playing game. And I think somebody just asked me if I'd say Mork Borg. Mirkbig! Which I know I don't do anymore. I try to pronounce it the correct way. It's supposed to be like something like Mirkborg. Mirkborg. Anyway. So, but after the first 48 hours, this had like 300 views. And I thought, what the? Come on. For a Pirate Borg release? And I'm pretty sure that my review might be the only one out there for this. So anyway, so I went and took a peek, and I got to see the breakdown, and it says that the people, okay, so there's what, a little more than 17,000 subscribers to the channel. And it says like 11.9% of subscribers have also clicked on all notifications. Okay. So that means that we should be looking at somewhere in the vicinity of what, 1,900 subscribers who have said, hey, you know what? I want to be notified about, whenever a video is posted. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to watch it. I completely get that. And for some strange reason, because I actually shared a note, right? Because I couldn't fit it all in a, like a tweet or Zeet or whatever. I was like, well, I'll write it up and I'll make an image of it and just post that. But I was like, okay, so we're looking at, let's say 1,800, right? Let's say there's 1,800 subscribers who said, hey, yeah, I want every notification. And as I was going to say, I've gotten, pushback from some people. Not a lot. Most people are like, hey, man, I see where you're coming from. I'm one of those people who don't get your notifications. So anyway, so they said, well, your website's not that popular to be showing up in, in people's feeds and blah, blah, blah. I get that. That's not bothering me. It doesn't bother me that it's like, well, YouTube doesn't think you're special enough to just share a recommendation of one of your videos in a non-subscriber's feed who maybe all they care about is like D&D. They watch D&D videos all the time, which is fine. But I get it. That's not bugging me. What bugs me is when I take a look and I see that the number of views at the point when the video had, I think, 320 some views, and it had been 48 hours, and it shows the progress of your views, right? And normally a video from the channel goes up and it kind of goes like that, and then it kind of curves, and then it's sort of like this, right? Still, I mean, it's not like rocketing up, but 2 months later, it's still kind of, it's not leveled out. It's still angling upwards. Not anymore. At about the 12-hour mark, it immediately starts making a 90-degree turn. And then it's not completely flat. It's not completely level, but there's very tiny upward movement, I guess we'll say. So anyway, so I go and I take a peek and I'm like, okay, so it's telling me there's around 1,800 people who are like, yeah, we want to be notified of every video release. Of those people, I had 18 views. (1%) 1% of the people who have asked to be notified of videos being released by the Gaming Gang watched the video. Hey, once again, I'm not expecting 50% of the people to watch it. It's Pirate Borg. It's a popular OSR game, but it's not a huge game. But 1%, that's lower than the percentage of people who clicked on it who are not subscribers. I was like, this is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit, because YouTube doesn't want. Okay, so here's one of the things, right? So I am a monetized channel, right? So as I pointed out, YouTube cares about channels with over 100,000 subscribers. And because those are usually going to make them money. Because come on, it's all about the monies, right? We know that. So they're concerned with them. In fact, I think if you have 100,000 subscribers or more, you actually get a YouTube consultant who works with probably like 5,000 people, but still, you actually have someone you can email about shit. So they care about them. And now suddenly, over the past, 12 months or so, and I'm seeing it more and more, I already pointed out, I'm getting these videos from, channels, and I'm not knocking these channels. This is not what I mean. I'm getting videos in my recommended, feed of channels that I've never shown any interest in, nor their topics, and they have like 4 or 5 views. And it's kind of like, what? And so my assumption is it's the same for you. And I think part of that is also because, well, those channels aren't monetized. So you could watch the shit out of all their videos. They're not making a dime. So I'm going to tell you what my call to action is in just a second, but I am going to pop on into chat to see what's going on here real quick. DB says they promote the crap out of AI Avengers and other assorted slop. And they were supposed to be demonetizing those channels, right? That was a big deal. They were demonetizing these AI fake trailers and stuff like that. Well, they may have demonetized them, but they are, I guess, still promoting them. So PC says, yeah, I hate that. They're pushing terrible AI videos with 2 or 3 views. Thankfully, I have not seen that. I have only seen like legitimate people. But I'll get a video recommendation about somebody's book haul, which is cool. Like I said, I'm not knocking these folks. I would say it's probably pretty interesting, right? Hey, I went to the used bookstore. This is what I got, right? Hey, cool. I just never shown any interest in that. Why are you putting that in my recommended videos? I do not get it. Tesco Loves with us in chat. They said, I don't get the dispatch showing up when live on my main page anymore. Max Apocalypse says, I pretty much go straight to my subscriptions on YouTube, and that's it. Also, as some people had pointed out, and I want to say also twice, YouTube is terrible at teaching people how to use YouTube. I know there are a vast number of people out there who have absolutely no clue what that little bell means. Just like I guarantee you there are a lot of folks out there who have no idea that you can go into your recommended videos feed and select it to be only subscriptions. I haven't bothered doing that because I honestly don't subscribe to that many channels. And the ones I do usually post like 1 video a week, like the Atomic Snack Bar. If you have not checked out the Atomic Snack Bar and you dig my brief intermissions, you've got to watch. You've got to check it out. They also do brief intermissions, very similar to mine, but they're all about like science fiction movies and, horror movies, but they're like real short. If you, like I said, if you have not checked out the Atomic Snack Bar, jot it down, give it a peek. It's very cool. And let them know Jeff at the Gaming Gang sent you. So let's see. No Limelight Productions is with us. W4 says, I wonder how much that Avengers countdown clock is costing. Kevin R. Smith says they get the live stream notification on their phone sometimes, but it almost never shows up in their recommendations. Agile Monk says, Jeff, I am seeing the same thing, and the notifications are not being done correctly either. No, they are not. Now, I also will mention YouTube just lost a court case about their algorithm. I remember correctly, I think it's Facebook and YouTube were in court and they lost. So I think we may see some changes. See, I've had other people tell me that, well, you know, you got to play the game. You got to play their game. I'm not going to play their game. I am not going to sit here and create AI slop thumbnails and have clickbait titles. Someone else had said they were trying to sell me on their consulting. And they said that, yeah, I just looked at your videos and your content. Yeah, everything looks the same from 3 years ago to today, which, yeah, it's probably true. That's what's known as consistency. I do a specific thing. What am I supposed to do? All right, hey, gang, I'm going to review Cabin Fever for Pirate Borg while I juggle it. Or as I tear pages out of the book as we take a look through. And the funny thing is, this person who contacted me wanting to, you know, charge me for their consulting does camera work for somebody who walks through a forest. That's what their videos are. And guess what? They all looked fucking identical. Like, okay, so you're going to tell me the problem is my content looks the same as I take a look at your camera work that is the same fucking thing. It's like, yeah, okay, man. Yeah, where do I sign up? Harvey Chuckles is with us in chat. DB says it's like what happened in the movies. As suddenly chat just goes, whoosh. Film used to be able to hang around and find an audience like Diner. Great movie. What an awesome movie. I saw that in the theater. And now all that matters is the opening weekend. Yes. Yep. Kevin King says, above the fold right now, I have 2 videos from 2 days ago, taking the place of videos from today that are pushed below. Agile Monk says, YouTube's jacking creators at the drive-thru while taking the money and laughing all the way to the bank. Let's see. Tim Johnson. Oh, I think I forgot to say hello to Tim. Darn it. I've been getting a lot of weird videos with a few views or on topics I've never clicked on before. Yep, Savage Splendor's with us in chat. Welcome. Yeah, YouTube expects the creator to teach them how these things work, like how YouTube operates. Yeah, that's why you'll hear a lot of people say, oh, and if you subscribe, ring that bell. And now it's like, ring that bell and select all notifications. And don't worry, it's okay. You still won't see the videos you asked to see. All right. Mark Hawkswell has joined us. W4 says, I've said it before, do cat juggling. The views and disgust will go up proportionately. So here's something else that YouTube wants to push, and it's called viewer satisfaction. And the way YouTube judges viewer satisfaction is once you finish watching one video on that channel, do you watch another video from that channel? Now, what if they're a channel that you're pretty much caught up with on their videos? Okay, well, I enjoyed the hell out of that. I'm bam, thumbs up. Yes, I enjoyed that. All right, so I am up to date on XYZ channel's videos. Still feel like hanging out on YouTube. What else we got out there? Oh, I think I'll watch that video. Well, guess what? That counts against the channel whose video you just watched. Because selecting the thumbs up, thumbs down, that doesn't mean anything anymore. That's not viewer satisfaction. I don't know what it would be. There's a lot of things with YouTube. It's like, yeah, we've got this thing, but we fucking ignore it. And it's like, well, then why do you have it? Like, overall, over 2,500 videos on this channel. I can go into my lifetime percentage of thumbs up. It's over 97%. Over the last year, it's almost 99%. And I know there are certain individuals who come to the videos and they're upset that somebody like me got a review copy. Why didn't they get a free copy of the game? And they go, which is fine. I honestly do not care. Now, if I was sitting there running like 50-50, yeah, I would probably care. But it used to be, they would say, oh, well, it shows engagement. Now the big thing is, did you watch another video from that channel? So I'm not going anywhere, okay? If you follow me on social media, I said after 13 plus years and 2,500 plus videos, YouTube is squeezing me out and creators like me out. I did not say I was planning on letting them. And I'm not going to play the game. I'm not going to sit here and like try to finagle people into clicking on my videos to watch them. I do not buy into that bullshit. I've said it before. You may have missed it. In my opinion, I think AI is one of the biggest fucking scams out there. It's right there with cryptocurrency. AI does not do anything like they claim it does. But you will remember I told you I had an experiment I was working on, but I didn't tell you what it was. So I've been using ChatGPT to write the articles on the website. Because I wanted to see if our traffic would change. Yep. Traffic from just people coming directly to the website. It's the same as it always is. It's very good. I've said it time and time again. A lot of people don't realize it's the gaminggang.com that's the driver here, not the 2,500 plus videos. But our search engine traffic has increased. Not insanely, but noticeably. So now I'm going to go back to not using, because I did it for 2 weeks. So I'm going to stop doing it again, and I'm going to watch what happens. So because I understand that, like seeks like. So Google wants, what is it? Is it this week or next week that Google's rolling out where its search is all AI now? That you will not have the opportunity of choosing, be like, no, I don't want the AI. Chris Lundgren's with us in chat. I'm supposed to be teaching Buddy the Cockatiel swear words. Swear worlds. Yeah, I'm going to teach Buddy swear worlds. Hey, welcome to Fuckatron. It's our swear world. I see Pete Strakolich is with us. All right. So Agile Monk says, that's right, Jeff. We shall fight back. He says, nice. I'm loving this. Okay. So this is where we're probably going to get spicy a little bit. So I know there's probably, game publishers who are sitting there going, well, where's this call to action? When are you going to talk about that? So here's my call to action for tabletop gaming publishers out there. who are on social media, get off your fucking ass. If you send out review copies to outlets and they provide reviews for your products, then fucking share them on social media. You've got all these outlets out there dying. You have all these established people who will actually focus on smaller games. Their channels aren't all about Dungeons and Dragons. They're about other games, and they're dying and they're leaving, or they're saying, well, you know what? I'm not going to cover this anymore. I'm going to cover Dungeons and Dragons exclusively because that's where the views are. That's where the clicks are. And what's going to happen to your games? There are way too many companies out there. Now, there are some companies that are just absolutely fantastic. Chaosium Inc., really great. Cobalt Press. And Cobalt Press will put my reviews in their newsletters. Troll Lord Games, pretty decent. Free League Publishing, at least they'll repost. Sometimes they'll actually go to the trouble of saying Jeff Mackler at the Gaming Gang says this, and they link to the video, right? Or they would link to the webpage where you can see the video and get like the review score and stuff like that. And there are others that are not immediately jumping into mind. Limithron, we were talking about Pirate Borg, another company that will do that. So there are companies out there. Exalted Funeral will do that. And then there's other companies that don't, that just will not bother. So I have to ask them, what was the fucking point of sending the review copy out? And I'm not talking about, well, they didn't share this review where I said, well, I think this is a steaming pile of shit. I wouldn't spend money on it. Hell, I'm going to burn it. And I got it for free. I'm not talking about that. But when they get positive coverage of their product that they're trying to sell, and they can't be bothered to click the little, that's a repost thing. Oh, okay. Wow, now that showed up on our social media channel. Wow. They can't be bothered to do that. They'll sit there, they'll click like, which doesn't do a motherfucking thing. Helps no one. Now, I don't know if some of these companies think, well, we just want to get in front of your audience. Yeah, but you got to realize a good portion of my audience probably doesn't care. Your audience does. So who does it benefit if you get an outlet providing you with a very positive review of one of your releases? Maybe the people who visit your social media page. Oh my God, mind blown. One of the reasons why the smaller outlets are just getting their asses handed to them on YouTube can be partly blamed on some of the publishers out there, because they have people in their marketing, their PR, who think that their job is to simply inundate people with advertisements of their products on social media. That's not marketing. That's social media. That's a difference. Because the reality is, when somebody is inundated with multiple advertisements, they just tune them out. I understand most people subscribe for something like social media, YouTube, whatever. They don't tend to unsubscribe. They just tend to tune that out. Or they'll go in and they'll be like, oh, ignore posts from XYZ. Or mute such and such channel. They don't necessarily go in there and unsubscribe. Just like PR. A lot of these people don't understand what PR is. It is press relations. That's what PR stands for. It doesn't mean press repost on your own shit on social media. So this is my call to action to tabletop gaming publishers out there, large and small. If you're out there and you are on social media and you post regularly on social media, I understand. There's companies out there that are like, oh, yo, we got to be on Twitter, man. And they haven't been on Twitter since it was called Twitter. I get that. I understand that. But there are a lot of companies out there. Tons and tons of companies out there making board games or role-playing games. They're getting reviews. They're like, man, I really enjoyed this. And the only way you're going to find that review is if you stumble across it on that channel, or if that outlet happens to have a website or whatever. You're not going to find out about it from the actual publisher of the game that sent out the review copy. How insane is that? And the reason behind it is because all these companies have people that got hired to do their marketing who aren't qualified. It's like, well, I did marketing for XYZ company, another game company, because you see this all the time too. It's like a weird incestuous sort of career choice. Because I have seen people go from one publisher to another publisher to another publisher. I've seen people work at 4 publishers in a year as their marketing person. And it's like, well, I work for so-and-so, and I work for so-and-so, and I work for so-and-so. It's like, oh, wow, really? Yeah, I'm not going to tell you I really fucking sucked at my job, but yeah, I've worked at those places. And they get brought on board. Or it's somebody's relative. Or, oh, it's this person we met, and we felt sorry for them because they're in some, this is not a joke. This is true. I can't say who it was. It's like we felt sorry for their situation in life at the moment. So we gave them this job that they had no qualifications for, which cost the company quite a bit of money. Until Eric says, so the call to action is for publishers to fire these useless dirtbags? No. Have these useless dirtbags do their job. I guarantee you take a look at my friends at Cobalt Press. You go take a look at their social media. You will get a sense of community taking a look at their social media posts. Now, do they include, hey, this is coming to Kickstarter, or hey, this is for sale now, or hey, you could pre-order this? Of course they do. But that isn't all they post on social media. Because they have a clue. So the reason why this is such a big deal is not only are you going to lose these outlets who are friendly to small publishers, who are friendly to companies just starting out. So those outlets are going to die on the vine. And then these small publishers aren't going to have an outlet for someone to share reviews of their products or first looks or whatever of their products, because all you're going to have left are the outlets out there who will not waste their time on small publishers because it's not going to get the views. That's all. That's what you're going to be stuck with. And you're going to be stuck with the option of, okay, so do I pay this person to shoot a 5-minute video where they say, hey, yeah, this is a really fun family game. And that's the end of it, right? Because it's like, you can't really pin down a reviewer on saying, well, it's a fun family game. Okay, so why would my family like it? Well, that's too much info. You don't need that information. So companies are going to be left with the option of having to pay other outlets to actively talk about their products or review their products, because otherwise that outlet's not going to make any money on doing a video, because they're only going to cover a video that's going to get them 5,000 views or more, or 10,000 views, or 30,000 views. And you know damn well that there are only a handful of publishers and a handful of outlets out there who have that sort of popularity. I mean, it's funny, but it's a really big deal if a company shares a link or writes 130 characters about a review that's been done by an outlet, and then they pop up the link to that video. That brings in people, because guess what? Because you're sitting there, you've got a captive audience, essentially. So when a publisher posts, hey, this is coming out in stores next Tuesday, here's XYZ's review, or you do a pull quote from that review and then you post that video, a lot of those people who are subscribed to your feed are going to go take a peek at that video, because they're interested. They're interested because they subscribe to your social media feed. So you know it. So why not use that? And then it's an outside source too. So it's not the constant buy our shit, 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 buy our shit. Was my language spicy enough for you guys out there? I'm curious. I got some F-bombs in there, right? Kevin R. Smith says, it's amazing that they can't figure out that getting fired from everywhere they've worked is not a good sign. Well, the thing is, now, there are publishers out there who do it right, okay? And there are publishers out there who understand that their marketing was not in good hands, and they have tried to address that as well. But there are still way, way too many companies out there who they'll, oh, here's a review of something you sent. It's a $60 book. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10 as an example, right? There you go. It's a $60 book. People are curious. I don't know, man. It's 250 pages, $60. Huh. Well, there's a review. Let me see what that review says. Maybe that'll help me make a buying decision on that book. So a publisher can do that. Or the publisher can just sit there and be like, oh, look, there's a review for our $59.99 book. Like, it doesn't take any amount of time. There's no time difference between clicking the little hand with the fucking thumb and the repost. But you also got to keep in mind, that also means that that marketing person or whatever they are actually has to go take a peek to see what the review says. I don't know if they've got time for that. Laconic Lane says, my call to action to publishers is to ship with player maps. Whatever. Kevin R. Smith says, sounds like one of the problems with having a small industry where most of the people know each other. Yeah, kind of, but they also know who's good and who's not. So okay. We're going to wrap this up because we're at like the hour and a half. But before we do, now think about it. If you take a look at let's say the best-selling role-playing game systems. Now, I don't want to say board games because there is quite a lot of variety mechanically and, obviously thematically. Okay, but if you took the best-selling role-playing game systems out there and you lined them up, there isn't some vast difference in quality. Now, you may take issue with that. You might be like, well, Wizards of the Coast, it's all woke and okay. That's not quality. That's opinion. That's different. But if we take them all, and let's say we take the top 10 and we line them all up, as far as the production quality, the quality of the writing, the quality of the intuitiveness of the rule systems, artwork, so on and so forth, is not radically different. But I'll tell you what is radically different are their sales numbers. Just saying. I'm just saying. That is the reality of things. Yeah, there are fantastic role-playing games out there that nobody knows about because the people who have created them do not know how to promote it. There are games out there that jury's out on for most people, or the jury's in and they don't like it. But it still sells very, very well. There's a reason behind that. All right. Chris Lundgren had to rock out before Buddy learned my swear worlds. All right. So, but I'm just saying, right? Okay. So the call to action is not include player maps in your releases. Okay. Take that up with the individual publishers out there, because some of them do. And the ones that do, maybe, you should be their customer because they're doing what you want them to do. Let's see. So Michael Solian has joined us. It's just common courtesy to repost if you get a review. Come on. Common courtesy is very uncommon these days. Let's be real here. All right. Pete Straklich says, this is exactly why I visit Jeff and the Gaming Gang regularly. There's no better steward of our hobby that gives us news on games, legit reviews, and community camaraderie. Yeah, let's all hate on the marketing departments together. Yeah. And the thing is, I'm not hating on them. Because I already pointed out, I'm not going anyplace. Because my situation, at least at this point in time, is where, of course, yes. If I don't have people watching videos or buying stuff over on DriveThruRPG or Fanatical, or, I get hired on to do Kickstarter previews from time to time. If those things don't happen, I'm not covering conventions, right? And it'd be kind of difficult to keep the website around and such. But it isn't as if it's like, well, everything is based off this channel. You know, COVID came around and I had this great idea. I'm gonna have a channel about tabletop games, and that's how I'm gonna make my living. No, that is not the case here. But there are a lot of varied voices out there that if things continue the way they do, they are going to be silenced. And just because someone's outlet out there only gets 150 views on their videos doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad outlet. That's an outlet people don't know about. That's an outlet that, you know, maybe the outlet's got like 5,000 subscribers. And you see that 2 years ago, their videos were getting, you know, like 2,000 views, 1.2 thousand views. And now suddenly they're only getting 55, 60 views. Does that mean the quality of that channel just went right down the toilet? No. It means the rules changed. The goalposts were moved, and they're constantly moving on YouTube. And it's probably an outlet that also never gets publishers to say, hey, you know, XYZ did that. XYZ shared a first look video of our game or our book or whatever. They shared a review. Hey, Laura over at, ABC says, hey, we enjoyed the hell out of playing this. You know, the kids especially liked the section with the kittens and the dungeons, right? No, they're not getting that. No Enemies Here is here. Yes, and it has been a while. Welcome aboard. All right, last run through chat here. But yes, once again, my call to action for publishers out there, large and small, is whoever handles your social media. Because the thing is, most content creators will email their contact at that company to give them the link to whatever they've done. Right? Because number one, it shows that you didn't just take a review copy and just let it collect dust. You did something with it. I mean, to me, that's super insulting when I do that and the publisher doesn't even bother. Sometimes the publisher doesn't even bother responding to my email saying, hey, your review of whatever is up. Here's the link. You can use the video however you would like. Social media reposts are always appreciated. That is my email. So anyway, somebody had said, oh, well, one of the reasons why, you don't get the views is because you have gang in the title of your channel. It's like, well, that wasn't a problem 18 months ago or the prior 13 plus years. Or I guess at that point it'd be 12. So I'm not buying that. If my channel was called Flashing Gang Signs, yeah, I guess I would say, could be a problem. DB says they can always run it through AI. Ask for a summary of your review. W. Forge says Jeff is becoming the Lewis Black of the RPG community. I love Lewis Black. I don't think I'm that cranky. I do call it like I see it, though. All I can tell you. All I can tell you. Yes, the Cones of Dunshire. I see that. Yeah, I've seen that episode. Okay, Savage Splendor says, yeah, our topic is over, right? So like I said, my call to action is, hey, step up your game, publishers. Content creators, share videos of your products in a positive light. You need to let people who like your stuff know about it. Step up. Okay. Does Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition become OSR in 2 years when it turns 20? No. My answer is no. I do not believe that the age of a game determines if it's old school, Renaissance, or not. Because, okay, so first of all, like, AD&D is not OSR. Basic Expert is not OSR. OSR are games that came out after, what are we talking, 2010-ish? Is that about when the term old school revival, because I think that's what people first referred to it as. So in my opinion, because once again, nobody can tell you what the definition of OSR is. Can't even tell you what the R stands for. I say Renaissance. That gives me some wiggle room, right? But like Tunnels and Trolls is not OSR. It's OG, right? So that's why 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons, it just still falls under the category of D&D, in my opinion. So Laconic Lane says, if I start pointing a crooked finger to the camera, I'll go full Lewis Black. Isn't it like when he's like this, right? Is that it? I got to be honest, I haven't watched Lewis in a while. Usually when I watch Lewis Black, it's when he's doing the rants that people share at his live shows. I would like to go see Lewis Black. Seems like he's an interesting character. I don't know if he'd be the kind of guy you'd want to go out and have a drink with. Because, he'd probably think you're a moron, right? Just because you're, like, if you're a regular person. But I do like Lewis Black. I've always liked Lewis Black. Let's see. Boomer Man Dan Webb popped in towards the end of the show. Agile Monk says, I'm better than Lewis Black. Well, I'm sure certainly much poorer than Lewis Black. DB says, I say rap battle. So Kevin R. Smith says, pretty sure OSR means based on pre-2000 games, especially D&D editions. Yeah, because I've had people tell me that, like, now I can't remember the damn role-playing game's name. It's from Gozer. It's like the Traveler. I don't want to say knockoff, but it's a D12. It's like Hostile, stuff like that. Not really OSR. So, W4 Jazz, when did Osric first come out? That's probably about 2010-ish. Yeah, Kevin R. Smith says the pre-2000 thing is kind of the most important criteria for it. JD Sewell says the loose star is Matt Finch's primer. I know. People argue, is it primer? I said primer once and people like burned me in effigy. So it's like, okay, primer. All righty. I don't live in England, but still. And Ben Milton's Principia Apocrypha or whatever, however it's pronounced. I have actually read both of those when I was first learning about old school Renaissance games. I was kind of like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I had AD&D, of course. Yes, I had basic. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. I did not have basic. I had OD&D. I had AD&D. So, all right. DB says they got to run. Good one tonight. Thank you kindly. Yeah, I know. I say it all the time. I understand. My channel is not for everybody. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I get it. I don't try to be. I believe in Louis Biscaglia's line about if you're a banana, don't bother trying to be an apple because you're never going to be a top flight apple. Be the best banana you can. It's like, yep. Troy Cornelson's with us as well. Agile Monk says OSR started before that. Some say 2004 with Castles and Crusades. I was going to say that. That's what I've heard as well. That many people consider the beginning of OSR to be Castles and Crusades. I don't know. But then I've also had people tell me Castles and Crusades is not OSR because it's not built on OD&D, AD&D, or Basic Expert. So there you go. Kevin R. Smith says Osric was definitely the first retro clone, and retro clones were the start of the OSR. I think what started to make the OSR a bit more, I guess I would say mainstream, because I don't want to necessarily say popular, but it became more mainstream with Labyrinth Lord and Swords and Wizardry. I think those are essentially the titles that when they hit, there was a thing called the OSR movement, because then you had multiple relatively popular systems out there with people who wanted that old school feel. Dr. Waits is with us, said third edition is old enough to be old now, right? Yeah, I would say it's old. It's just not OSR. Kevin R. Smith says Castles and Crusades was definitely an inspiration to the OSR. Yes, I agree. Like I said, I have heard people say that it's Castles and Crusades that helped usher in the OSR. Well, I also have other people say Castles and Crusades is not an OSR product. So I'm like, okay, all right, relax. Like I said, nobody can define it. They cannot define what is OSR, and that's fine. It's no big deal. It's when people start getting bent out of shape about it. Like when I've seen online in forums, people freaking out when someone calls Dungeon Crawl Classics an OSR role-playing game. Okay, I get it. I would not consider it OSR. I would say it's old school inspired. It's old school themed. But no, maybe it's, really not OSR. Okay, that's fine. Is it a fun role-playing game? Hell yeah, it is. It's a great fantasy role-playing game. Maybe it's just not OSR, but like I said, I've seen people like losing their minds over it in forums, and it's like, come on, man. It's like, get a grip. Dr. White says, this is like my wife arguing that Elvis isn't rock. I would consider Elvis rock because that was rock. You could probably have a much better argument saying that Judas Priest isn't rock. I'm not saying that they aren't. I'm just saying because rock and roll is Elvis, and I am not an Elvis fan, so he's fine. Don't get me wrong. I don't I hate Elvis. I'm a Beatles guy, and I come from the age when it's Elvis or Beatles. You can't like both. Right? W. Ford says, never played Mutant Crawl Classics, based on D&D or Gamma World with the rules. Mutant Crawl Classics is based on Dungeon Crawl Classics. It's what it is. But it is gonzo. It is very much a gonzo post-apocalyptic setting. All right. Laconic Lane says, it appears Goodman Games is supposed to have 5e material out later this month, but they are silent about it. I'm sure it's for a good reason. I'd love to read more. They just had a Kickstarter launch today. In fact, I want to say we had 3 Kickstarters kick off today. I will probably share news of 2 of them tomorrow and the other one on Thursday. So, all right. Mega Dungeon Month, yes, is this month. Cobalt Press has a new pre-order. They've got a new Kickstarter. So the companies that I'm friends with I'm not going to say Goodman Games. I'm friends with I don't think I'm really on their radar for the most part. Although I do have some Goodman Games reviews coming up. Stay tuned for those. Pete Stracklich says Goodman Games is putting out OG 5e based on the 2014 edition when it first hit. Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think, what is it? White Rock Castle is the name of the Kickstarter, and I do think it's a 5e. Or it might be both, like Goodman Games likes to do. They'll do like a 5e edition, and then they also have the DCC edition. W4 says too many games. All right, everybody. So nice to be back. Glad to see that people showed up. I was like, oh man, I hope people pop in the chat. Be kind of weird. I'll be like, yeah, I'm back. Nobody's here. I got call action for game publishers out there. But no one cares. All right, everybody. If you were watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, you get a tip of the cap. Because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company while I'm sharing the news, or you're watching the brief intermission, or maybe I'm pontificating about a topic. So thank you kindly. Of course, I know a lot of folks out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. I really do appreciate any of you taking time out to watch the videos here on the channel, now clocking in at more than 2,500 videos. I wasn't keeping count. I was like, 2,500? Okay. Yes. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. And if you ring the bell, select all notifications. I can't tell you it's going to work, but you can at least try. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are never going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.